Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, doing the ENSO update for July 2021 for today's second video. So, this is the penultimate ENSO update of the year. Can you believe it? We've just got one more ENSO update to do after this in August, and then we shall be merging these ENSO updates with our winter updates from the start of September, as ENSO is primarily something that's important to the UK and Northern European weather scene for the winter period. So yeah, we always merge the ENSO updates when we get to winter updates at the beginning of September, which means we've just got this update 2 for you and one last one next month, and then that's it. The ENSO updates will go on the back burner for the rest of the year. So I shall get on with the penultimate ENSO update for you in a moment for July 2021. Just saying that the first video release today was our 7 AM forecast. We've got the ECMWF 30-day, well, it's actually 6-week forecast, but it's kind of like historically a 30-day forecast for the UK and for the rest of Europe as well. That'll be coming up later on still. And then we will have, if that wasn't enough, a 10 to 14 day for you this afternoon. It's a busy old day at GavsWeatherVids today. Please like, share, subscribe on all our videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We'll bring you up to date with like what's happening currently with ENSO, and then we'll have some forecast data. So let's get on with it, shall we? We're going to turn off the webcam, and we're going to begin, as we always do, with our ENSO updates with the cold and warm episodes by season chart from NCP, CPC, and also NOAA as well. So, if you watch the ENSO updates regularly, you'll know that this is depicting warm and cold episodes, El Nino and La Nina, over tri-monthly, seasonal and yearly periods. So, for example, 1982, 1983, we begin with these black numbers, which is ENSO neutral, neither El Nino or La Nina. Then you get these red numbers appearing. They do become really quite big red numbers as well, 2.2 at the peak of this El Nino event. That is an El Nino event, when we've got positive red numbers. That's an El Nino event. It's a warm event, hence colour red. And so that was a pretty big El Nino. It's actually a super Nino. The blue numbers, the negative blue numbers, are La Ninas. These are cold events. And for example, you see that through winter of 1984 to 1985, we did in fact have a weak La Nina event. So blue is La Nina negative, and red is El Nino positive. Right, so let's come down to the most recent year, which of course is 2020 to 2021. You can see we've been in a weak La Nina, a weak cold event, since last autumn. So you see these negative blue numbers appearing. So this La Nina event at its strongest, and it's quite early on as well in the tri-month period for October, November, December, was like borderline moderate, just about reached moderate La Nina territory before weakening back to a weak La Nina through most of the winter, and weak La Nina event persisting into the spring. Most recent number that we've got in the box is this one for April, May, June, tri-monthly period, going down to minus 0.5. So that is virtually back to ENSO neutral. I just explained the criteria to get a La Nina day. The same is true for El Nino. You have to be half a degree below average. 0.5 is a very important and significant number. So you have to be half a degree for La Nina below average, and for El Nino half a degree above average. I have to run that over 5 tri-monthly periods. So that number there is quite important, because that is virtually back to ENSO neutral. That just goes 0.1 degree lower to 0.4, then that brings an end to the La Nina officially, and the number will go back to black through here. And I think that's what's going to happen when this updates for a tri-monthly period for May, June, July. I think we will see that we are back into ENSO neutral by that point, for the tri-month period of May, June, and July. So pretty much the La Nina is over of 2020, 2021, and we will confirm that, I think, when this updates next month. The reason I say that is that this is how sea surface temperature anomalies in the ENSO region were looking when we did last month's ENSO update for June. And you can see at that point we was virtually back to ENSO neutral, really. The cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies that you would expect to see with La Nina pretty much gone. One or two little blue patches, little colder patches, but generally back to ENSO neutral during June. So that is why I think when the next tri-monthly period updates for May, June, July, we will see that number going from blue to black, and we will find that we are back at ENSO neutral. That's how things looked. We did last month's ENSO neutral. This is the very latest now. The La Nina signal now is beginning to re-emerge. Look at this. You can see that since last month to this month, there's clearly been a cooling of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean. Of course, this is the Equatorial Pacific Ocean just here. So this is Indonesia over there. This is Peru over here. And this is the equator of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean. And you can clearly see that over the past month there has been a cooling across particularly central and western parts of the ENSO region, a little bit less so in the eastern portion of the ENSO region. But yeah, cooling has taken place over the past month quite clearly, and not only across the equator of the Pacific Ocean, but also to the south of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, just here through this part of the Pacific, and also now beginning to extend back towards Chile as well. So I reckon we're going to see quite a large area of cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies developing around here, and that will feed in to the ENSO region, to the equator of the Pacific Ocean. We'll see that area getting colder as well, I think. So it does look as though La Nina is probably on the way back. Now, this is how things look in terms of subsurface temperature. So that is the surface of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, just there. This is how things look at depth. So with this, you have to come. This is from the CPC, NCEP, and NOAA PDF for ENSO. It gets updated, every week. So with this, you have to think that, like, this is the surface of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean just here. That is where you'll find Peru, just there. You will find Indonesia over here. So, and these are the depths of the ocean, very deep ocean, of course, the Pacific going all the way down to 300 meters. Now, I'm sure you can see that we have got quite a large area of colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies developing here, just below the surface and down to depths of around 200 meters, actually. So just below the surface here, and also going down to around there, a large area of colder than average subsurface temperature is beginning to push up to the surface of the Pacific Ocean. Over here, we have got warmer than average subsurface temperature anomalies, but I think they are kind of fading away a little bit. And that warmer than average area of sea surface temperature anomalies, I should go back to that, but we have just here, this area, which is in quite shallow waters anyway. But just here, we've got one average sea surface temperature anomalies close to the coast of Peru. You see that is not particularly well supported. That doesn't go down to any great depth at all. It's just underneath the surface that we have that small area of warmer than average subsurface temperature anomalies. I think that will be pretty much cleared away by these colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies for 2 inch long. We have seen quite significant changes over a relatively short time period. So this is how things have changed over the past few weeks. This top box just here is from the 2nd of June. At that point, most of the subsurface temperature anomalies are actually warmer than average. You have to go right way down to just here, virtually at the bottom of the Pacific, 250, 300 meters. And in the extreme western part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean as well, to find anything colder than average. The same is true, really, for the 17th of June, this box just here. 2nd of July is when things begin to change a little bit. That's this box just here. You see we get this small area of cold and average subsurface temperature starting to emerge. But even then, not looking like anything all that significant. But then by the 17th of July, look at this. All of a sudden, that cold and average area subsurface temperature anomalies has developed and expanded quite significally, and so that's the latest. It's expanded and developed even more, as we see there. So, from a subsurface temperature anomaly perspective, it does look as though La Nina is coming back. This is the SOI, Southern Oscillation Index. So this is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It's not driving anything in its own terms. It just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. It's measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti. So when the SOI is in its positive phase, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. This is from Queensland Government, which I think is part of Bureau of Meteorology. So these are our daily returns just here, and we have got into a strongly positive phase, and consistently strongly positive phase as well, of the SOI. So we'll start from right 14th of July, show middle of the month. We see was at plus 26.22. 15th of July, plus 37.86. 16th of July, plus 33.05. 17th of July, plus 30.41. 18th of July, plus 17.30. 19th of July, plus 8.80. 20th of July, plus 8.86. 21st of July, plus 8.80. 22nd of July, plus 16.50. 23rd of July, plus 17.85. 24th of July, plus 16.19. 25th of July, plus 15.97. And last day is 26th of July, plus 14.59. All of those daily returns are preliminary, so they can be changed slightly, but nevertheless, all of those daily returns are indicating quite a strong positive phase of the SOI, so quite a strong La Nina type setup is present in the in the South Pacific. You know, between Tahiti and Darwin, those air pressures are very much in a La Nina type phase, and that's lifted up the SOI 38 average, which is this red line. That's lifted up quite significantly since the end of June. So at the end of June, we was down here around neutral to slightly negative, actually, slightly towards El Nino, if anything. But look where we are right now. Look how that 38 average has just soared to around plus 16. That's a strong sort of 30-day average, strongly positive 30-day average, I should say, which is reflective of La Nina. So the atmosphere and the ocean look like they are coupling. That is probably why those colder than average subsurface temperature anomalies have developed at depth in the Pacific Ocean and are moving up to the surface. You know, we are seeing a coupling of the atmosphere and the ocean right now to start driving La Nina. So it does look as though La Nina is on the way back from what we're observing, but let's see what the models have to say about this. Let's have a look at some model data. So we're going to begin with CFS-V2. So again, we've got our temperature anomalies on the side, the dates in monthly periods are on the bottom. Remember, I told you the all-important number is half a degree below average. So you can see that already we're sort of on that threshold, really, at the moment, around half a degree below average on the cusp of La Nina. As we go from September into October, we go under that half degree below average threshold, and that gets us back to La Nina. Albeit it's only forecasted weak La Nina. The black dash line, the ensemble mean, never goes beyond sort of 1 degree below average, so that is in weak La Nina territory. It does look like this is going to be a strong event because it's starting so late. You know, to get strong ENSO events, be they La Nina or El Nino, they typically have to start quite early, sort of late spring, early summer. We are now moving towards the latter stages of the northern hemispheric summer, and so it looks like it's probably too late to get anything other than a weak La Nina going, famous last words, but certainly CFS-V2 is forecasting us to be in weak La Nina through this autumn and into winter of 2021-2022. By spring 2022, we're returning back to ENSO neutral again, of course. This is how CANSIPS is looking. This is tropicaltidbits.com. So the long-range CANSIPS model looks like that for August. Again, the sea surface temperature anomaly forecast looks like this. So La Nina is still beginning to re-emerge during August through the central western part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, over on the eastern side, perhaps closer to ENSO neutral. Let's run through over the next few months. So that gets us to October, by which time we clearly have quite a significant La Nina going on. So the temperature anomaly with that is going down to around 1 degree below average. So I think it's still relatively weak, maybe to borderline moderate, maybe down to around 1.5 degrees below average with CANSIPS. But definitely going back to La Nina. And by November and December, which of course is when these events peak, which is why they are mostly important for the Northern Hemisphere and for Europe and UK for winter, by which time we are into a moderate La Nina by then. Through here, I think the temperature anomaly is definitely now down to around 1.5 degrees below average. So a moderate La Nina coming back through this late summer, autumn, and into winter 21-22 with CANSIPs. And then, of course, we go through the winter and into next spring. We find that begin to fade out. And by next June, actually wants to get us back towards perhaps a bit of an El Nino signal. Of course, that is a very, very, very long way out. Let's have ECMWF. So we've got CFS. I'll keep going through the scores on the doors. We've got CFS currently showing a weak La Nina re-emerging. CANSIPs showing moderate La Nina re-emerging. Let's have ECMWF ensemble plume is looking. So again, this is taking us back, I think, to La Nina, but weak La Nina. So we've got a temperature anomalies again on the side. Datesium appears along the bottom. We're currently starting off here on the cool side of ENSO neutral. By the time we get through to around September, October, because we haven't got our outliers, we've got our warm outliers up here, we've got our cold outliers down there. So these are strong La Ninas, these are borderline El Ninos. But by the time we get through to October, the thrust of the ensemble plume is around there. So again, that is like ENSO neutral on the cold side, 2 weak La Nina, and that carries on then into the winter period as well. So I think the ECMWF is also forecasting that we are likely to go into a weak La Nina by this autumn. Beijing Climate Centre looks like that. The sea surface temperature anomaly forecast for August has a look of La Nina about it, particularly through the central and western part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, but also over in the east as well, to be honest. That's how it looks by October. So by then, the La Nina signal will begin to fade out a little bit, actually starting to warm there through the central part of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean. I'm not sure about that at all. If La Nina begins to get going, through the end of the summer, you would most times out of 10 expect that to strengthen, or to carry on, but probably to strengthen like through the autumn and up to Christmas. So I'm not at all sure about that. That looks very strange how it wants to warm things up in October, and actually has us in a weak El Nino by January. But again, I'm very, very unsure about that. That would be really unusual to go from like a weak La Nina signal in August to like a weak El Nino signal by January. I can't see that coming off. So I think the Beijing Climate Centre has got that wrong. And then the final model we're going to look at is UK Met Office Glow C5. So this is how sea surface temperature anomalies are looking for the triennial period of August, September, October. And actually forecasting quite a strong La Nina there. So I think that's like the strongest that we see. On the temperature scale, going into those blue colours, that's like going down to around 2 degrees below average with those dark blue colours. So that's going for quite a strong La Nina. I'm not sure about that either. I think that's a bit over top. And that's how it looks for September, October, November. And if anything, those dark blue colours are expanding out a little bit. So definitely going to like a moderate La Nina, possibly going to a strong La Nina there. With the UK Met, and 4 to 6 months out, which is October, November, December, excuse me, we look like that, and again, we've got those deep blue colours very much entrenched, and that does look like a moderate to strong La Nina, but I think that's a bit over the top. There's no sign of it being that strong at this stage, in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies right now. So I think that's probably a bit too far on the La Nina side. So Beijing climate temperature is a little bit too far on the warm side, the El Nino side, and the UK Met, I think, is a little bit too far on the La Nina side, going too over top with the La Nina signal. So I think that is quite unlikely that La Nina gets that strong. And I would suspect that, like, CFS and ECM have probably got this about right, which is weak La Nina. Might get to, like, borderline moderate, but I would suggest a weak La Nina is most likely for winter of 2021-2022. But we could get something dramatic happen. You never know with these ENSO events. We might get something unusual I expect to happen. We might swing into an El Nino by January. I don't think we will, but we might do. Equally, we might see like a dramatic cooling of the ENSO region take place and take us into like a moderate or even a strong La Nina. So it's all to be revealed, and of course we keep a close eye on it. We're going to do one last ENSO update for you next month in August, and then from the beginning of September, we will look at ENSO every single week in our winter updates. So we'll update you, go from like monthly updates to weekly updates as part of the winter updates, and that will be from the beginning of September. Okay, so if you enjoyed this penultimate ENSO update for 2021, please can you like the video, share it wherever you want, and let us know in the comments what you think is landing on the way. It certainly looks like it to me. And what's going to happen with this landing? Will it be a weak one? Will it be a moderate one? Will it be a strong one? Let me know in the comments, everyone. And I shall see you for the final ENSO update, of course, in August. Right, so that's it for this month's ENSO update. We're going to be back later on with the EC 30-day log ahead / 6 weeks log ahead for Northern Europe, and also we're going to have 10 to 14 day as well for this month's ENSO update, though. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.